For that, I want to bring in Dilly Hussain, who joins me now from London. He's the deputy editor of Five Pillars, which is a UK-based Muslim news website. Dilly, you launched your website with the chief aim of filling a deficit of Muslim news that would be more representative of the population in the UK. That was 4 years ago, which means before we talk about how the media has covered this, you felt that the community initially was underrepresented.
Yes, absolutely. So Five Pillars launched in 2013, just 3 weeks before the Woolwich attack, when British Fusilier Lee Rigby was killed. And there was definitely a gap in the market, a vacuum rather, of proper grassroots focus, representative news on an online platform. And ever since then, Five Pillars have gone from strength to strength. We are the biggest British Muslim news site in the country. And we've been doing, coverage of news from a grassroots perspective since 2013. With regards to yesterday's or the incident which took place outside Finsbury Park, it's very unfortunate. Facts are still surfacing. We know that one person has unfortunately died. Our thoughts and prayers are with those, the victims and their families. I think serious questions need to be asked. Serious questions need to be asked with regards to how the media chooses to cover and report on these stories. And I think one of the things which the Muslim community up and down the country are ultimately calling for is equal treatment. When a Muslim or if a perpetrator carries out the exact same crime or happens to have a Muslim name, immediately or very quickly it's labeled as a terrorist attack. Whereas when it happens to be a white non-Muslim, all kinds of excuses are pulled out, whether it be their mental state, their psychological state, and so forth. But I also want to make a distinction that whilst highlighting these double standards in the media's coverage and the mainstream media's coverage, we do need to be careful that we don't start pushing for exceptional treatment of crimes. And what I mean by that is the gentleman, one of the perpetrators who was arrested yesterday, he was arrested on attempted murder. The murderers of Lee Rigby were charged with murder. So I think we need to appreciate that we have existing laws that can deal with both heinous crimes like this or terrorism crimes. We've got existing laws. We shouldn't be calling for new laws, but by all means we should be highlighting the double standards in how these crimes are reported depending on one's faith and skin color.
Dilly, quickly, what is your interpretation of how the media has covered this attack, and what have you been hearing specifically from people that you have spoken to in the Muslim community?
I mean, with regards to this specific attack, I think, generally speaking, the media's coverage has been somewhat better. I mean, I think the word terrorist attack has been used quicker than it has been previously. But the Muslim community ultimately feels, from the limited communications I've had with some of the leaders, even within Finsbury Park, is that this is obviously a response or retaliation of what happened in Manchester and London Bridge, as well as the fact that, when there is a consistent, systematic demonization of Islam and Muslims in the mainstream media, that we shouldn't be surprised when these kind of attacks take place.
Dilly Hussain, thank you for your perspective.